Alrighty, everybody. Today is a fun day for poetry writing. So we are going to be proofreading our poems for spelling errors and make sure that we're using punctuation and capitalization in our poems exactly the way we want to. I know that might not sound like the fun part, but just wait. Today, we're going to figure out the ways that you want to break the rules. So, something that's really fun about poetry is that poets don't always follow the rules when it comes to punctuation and capitalization. But when they break the rules, they do it on purpose, not accidentally. And I included a GIF here for you that says, if you want to rock, you gotta break the rules. So we're going to pause and think. When we're writing sentences, what do we usually do at the beginning and end to make sure that they are written correctly? Go ahead and pause. Something that you might have come up with was that we make sure that we include punctuation. We make sure that we capitalize the first letter of our sentence. We make sure that if we have a question mark, it's a question, exclamation point, if it's an exclamation, and a period, if it's just a statement, right? So we're going to pause, and I want you to read Lullaby to yourself. I am not going to read it to you. I want you to think if this poet follows the rules for punctuating and capitalizing sentences in this poem. Okay? So go ahead and pause. And now that you've read through the poem, why do you think that this poet chose to leave some, what we would normally consider mistakes, right? So if you look here, it looks like the words, if you see where my yellow marker is, as, settling, tucking, beneath, has, and, she's, soft, she. All of those starts of the lines are not capitalized, right? Why do you think she did that? Next, we're going to go through and look at cricket. What do you notice? You're going to pause again. What do you notice about the way the author chose to capitalize or not capitalize, punctuate or not punctuate in this poem? Go ahead and pause as you read it yourself. So here in crickets, you might have noticed, I don't know how to make my marker that I'm using thicker, but there are no capitals. I can look through here and I can underline every single word if I wanted to. This poet, Myra Cohen Livingston, did not use any capital letters in her entire poem. What I think the reason she did that for is because she wanted the poem to sound a certain way when she read it out loud. If I had to guess, I would say that she knows when to capitalize and when to use punctuation, but she didn't use either of those in her entire poem. Now we're going to look at feeling ill. You're going to pause and do the same thing. Read the poem yourself and think about why the author wanted to have the punctuation and capitalization the way that they have it. You might have noticed that there is no punctuation at the end of each line. There aren't commas, there are not periods, there are not capital letters at the beginning of each. And some of you might think, yay, it's like a writing holiday. Some of you, it might really bother you when you see it because you really like having everything in a neat order. And that's what's awesome about poetry. It's totally up to you about how you are going to punctuate or not punctuate, capitalize or not capitalize. You get to decide which rules you follow and which rules you break when it comes to writing your poetry. So I want you to pause and think as you answer these questions. Do you follow the rules of capitalizing the first letters of sentences and using periods at the end? If so, do you do this all the way through your poem? The one thing that does matter is that you're consistent here. You're not going to capitalize some and not the other, right? You're not going to include some punctuation but not others. You want to try to at least be consistent with your choice. If you did not start out following the rules, what did you do instead? And do you want to leave your poem this way or do you want to revise it to follow the rules? So some of you might proofread your poem and realize you forgot things and you do want to add them in so they follow the rules of writing. Some of you might proofread and realize, oh wait, I wasn't following that and I want to keep it that way, and you might change other things to break the rules. So if you choose not to follow the rules, it's totally okay, but make sure that you do it consistently all the way through your poem. So right now, I want you to pause and go through making sure that you thoughtfully consider these questions before you move on. The next thing that we're going to do is check for spelling errors. Some of you, this is the most dreaded part, okay? Some of you, you're like, it's a breeze, easy peasy. Okay, you are going to read your poem to yourself, and you're going to circle the words in your draft that you are unsure of how to spell. Any word that you're unsure of if it's correct or not, I want you to circle it. After you've gone through and circled all of the words, you're going to either look up these words in a dictionary or type them in on the internet with your best guess of spelling. I want you to try to use your own resources here. Chances are you're watching this on a computer or a phone and you can just type your words in at the search bar, okay? You don't need to go ask an adult, how do you spell this? I want you to find it on your own because you are more than capable of doing that, okay? If you think the word is a common word, like the word because, use your resources. Go grab a book nearby and find the word. Be patient if you're choosing this option. But I really want you to try your very best to change the spelling on your own. Some of us tend to rush through and be like, yeah, I think it looks right. No. I want you to slow down and make sure really carefully that your words are spelled correctly. Okay? If you're on a computer, you might be in luck because you probably have spell check. Now that you've already done that last task, all your spelling is checked, it's time for writing time. You're going to proofread your poems, and when you're done, you can rewrite your final version. Maybe you want to consider writing it on special paper, or white paper and decorating it. Or if you've been typing up until this point, maybe you want to make a paper copy for yourself. Tomorrow, you'll be making an individual PowerPoint slide that you'll share with me, and I'll put together a slideshow of all the poems from our class. But don't do that today. Please make a paper copy today. Tomorrow will be the PowerPoint. Okay? I'm excited to see what you write. Happy final drafting!